Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Aquaman, issue number 45. This is the first true appearance of, well, I guess it would be a cameo appearance of Nama. There's been a bunch of other appearances, like in history. This is the first cameo appearance. I guess next issue will be the first full appearance, like, going out and actually fighting and all this stuff. But she actually talks in this. It's like in the back of issue number 180 of The Incredible Hulk. The first appearance of Wolverine was like one panel where he's like, and he says something. And then in, what do you call it? Just imagine if before that there were 3 or 4 issues of the Hulk or something where Wolverine was a memory and they're like, oh, we're going to see this guy one day soon. Yeah, that. Anyway, there's the first full reveal of her. If that's not worth something, let's talk about the amazing story that was inside. All right, this issue is called Unspoken Water, and how do you not love a story that has a name like that? This is part 3 of 5 of the arc, the first arc that Kelly Sue DeConnick, the writer, is writing for Aquaman. Daniel Enriquez on inks. Oh, excuse me, Robson Roca on pencils. And Sunny Rowe on colors. Clayton Cowles on letters, and Roca Henriquez and Brad Anderson did the cover. There's a variant cover by Cully Hamner. So, and of course, Aquaman created by Paul Norris. I'm telling you, man, it's beautiful. Aquaman wakes up in the village of Unspoken Water. The first page opening reveal, like that scene where the nothing turns into a spot, turns into a dragon, and then turns out it's actually Aquaman. If that's not foretelling, I don't know what the hell is. Like, go ahead. Speak to me, dude. What the hell am I reading here? This is gorgeous. And then he wakes up. Callie is there. She's rescuing him yet again. And basically, all of this is just them getting on a ship to go and visit her mother. That's all that really happens in here. But there's a story in the background that we keep on referring back to, and most of this comic book is referring back to that story, the story of Nama, how she was created, how her children was created, how she comes back, the story of the original gods. Now, this is a new story. We've never heard this story before. At the same time, we've heard it millions of times before. Like the stories of how far do we have to really go back? Tiamat and Aniki. I think it was Aniki, Aniki, whatever. The salt waters and the fresh waters combining in marriage and union and birthing monsters or spawning, whatever beings, humans, gods, lesser gods from these greater gods. The younger gods get jealous. They go after them. They're able to kill Aniki. Leviathan or Tiamat gets infuriated and she decides, I'm going to eat all of these children. How dare you kill my husband, your father? And the greater of those lesser gods is incapable of taking none of them combined, can go after her rage, her fury, because this isn't a sneak attack at this point. So one from amongst them, the Thor-like character, the Hercules-like character, the Marduk-like character, Gilgamesh, if you will, they come back and they say, oh, you know what, well, I'll take her out, and just has to gather a couple little weapons. So he does, he grabs a couple weapons, he grabs like 50 names, whatever they're going to do, and then comes in and smites her with an evil wind, and it's like Jaws, the first movie, all over again. And it's amazing. It's amazing, all these stories that we've been telling each other ever since we finally discovered fire, we mastered fire, and we're able to huddle around a fire instead of in these massive orgy-like situations where it's like, we need body heat to keep us warm, so each other's body heat. We can actually stay still long enough around a campfire to stay warm. And once we were staying still, we had to do something to occupy the time, so we told campfire stories. I'm telling you, if prostitution is the oldest profession, then the oldest amateur job is telling stories, being that dungeon master. I mean, this is exactly what this comic book reminds me of, from beginning to end. What exactly happens in this comic book? That's easy. Go buy the damn comic book and enjoy this amazing origin mythology story, which has expert storytelling from DeConnick and Roca. This is an incredible book. Like, I'm completely beside myself by how damn good this is. No book has the right to be this good, to have this kind of an origin story, this primal origin story inside. I don't know where else to go with this. I'm reading the whole comic book and I'm speechless. Every time I read a comic book, I know I'm going to review the comic book. So I'll point out key details. Oh, this and this and this happened. So I'll remember. And sometimes I forget some of them. Sometimes as I'm doing the lecture, basically Comic Book University, right, lecture hall. Also, I'll think of something else related and I'll throw that in really quick. I ad lib a lot, and that's what I do. And this, I'm completely blown away by how perfect this new retelling of our origin stories just effortlessly flows in this, like the sea. This is amazing. This is an amazing comic book. You want a good origin story. You want a good mythology story. You want a good origin for, this character, whatever. You just want a good bedtime story or a campfire story. Here you go. This is awesome. I don't know where else to go with that. Guys, you should definitely be grabbing this book, and it's not too late to grab the previous 2 issues where Kelly Sue DeConnick first started this story, because it is really good. Yeah, sure, wait for the trade paperback to come out. Go out and get the trade paperback signed. Maybe it'll actually be worth something. But whether you sell your books or not, I don't sell my books, having these first issues signed just by the writer and the artist, I don't feel like, I feel almost like, it would be like having Homer signing the first copies, the first prints of the Odyssey and the Iliad. I mean, that's what this feels like. Don't want to sugarcoat it too much, because it's going to seem like I'm full of it, but I genuinely mean it. I don't know where else to go with this. This is incredible primal storytelling at its finest. Wow, as a guy who, if you can't tell, I have been reading mythology stories since I was able to read. Somebody like Donny Cates started off with Venom. I started off with much larger stories. I started off with the stories of the gods. And man, this is just one of them. This quite literally is one of them. And that's it. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.